Yes. Let's have a look, see how we're going to go this week. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Straight away on, wow. Fingers crossed. Good evening, guys and girls. Is there anyone in the chat? I don't know names. How are we doing this splendid week? Is there any Trump fans in? Is there Harris fans in? Oh, sorry. Oh, there's a bit of buzz about me now this week. See, I kept my faith all the way through. I knew he was going to do it. Hi, Maz. Hi, Joe. Hope you're both well. Oh, come on, Russ. Come on, Russ.
I'm coming.
Let's get it started.
I'm coming. I'm here.
Oh. Wish I bought me Make America Great Again hat.
Mega hat. Right, let's just make sure that. Hold on, bear with me a second. Just want to make sure Philip's off air. Yep. Right, are you ready?
Go.
It's now time for you to sit back and chill and relax. Let your mind reach the deepest, darkest parts of your brain. And let Russ take you on a journey to the unexplained.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Americans of all ages. Welcome to Journey Through the Unexplained. Thank you. A massive thank you to the lovely Philip Solomon that has taken us through the last hour over on Pulse Talk Radio. I couldn't listen to the last. I normally listen to sort of the last 20 minutes, but I was setting up and doing everything, and I've never managed to listen to the last bit. But no, thank you to the lovely Philip Solomon that has taken us through the last hour on Pulse Talk Radio. And it is Thursday, the 7th of November. It's just gone 8 o'clock. And it is great to be an American. I wish I played the song, but I didn't know, copyright laws and all that. I thought I better not, just in case. But welcome to Mr. As you can see, Mr. Paranormal Paul has got a smile on his face from ear to ear. Welcome, Mr. America, or Mr. Paranormal America, we'll call you today, I think.
Yeah. Good evening. How are we doing, mate? You as happy as me?
I have got a smile on my face. But we'll go into it in a minute. Let's just have a catch up. How's your week been? Apart from on Tuesday, how's your week been?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Still struggling with a few little bits and pieces health-wise, but hopefully I'm on the mend. So, I wasn't quite able to celebrate as I would like to have celebrated. But no, all good, mate. My end. How about yourself?
All good this end. I've had a nice week off of work this week, so it's been nice and relaxing. So that's the main thing. Had a couple of busy days, but other than that, all good.
Happy days.
All good. Let's say a few people in the chat. We've got Marianne Dixon in the chat. We've got yep, I've had a haircut. Yes, I did have a haircut, and you know, I don't know, me ears have have come out. Mickey is in the chat as well, and Natalie is in the chat as well. Let us know who's in the chat. We've got quite a number of viewers. They could dwindle away by the end of the thing because we're going to obviously have a nice chat today. It's probably going to bore a few people. I know it'll probably bore my nan, but you know, she doesn't like us talking about Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden. But how can we not? How can we not? Because I do think there has got to be a couple of things that we have to address. We got also the Reptile Hut that is checking in tonight as well. Jim from the Reptile Hut as well. Just for anyone out there, please, please, please. If you've got any reptiles and you need advice, or you're looking at more animals to get, more reptiles, from tarantulas to snakes, you name it, go and see these guys at White Elm Garden Centre, okay? The Reptile Hut guys, all right? They've got the Bug Hut and the Reptile Hut. You will not find better in Essex. I am telling you that. Hand on my heart, and with my Trump mega hat on, they are mega, all right? These guys are mega, mega, mega. So go and check them out. They're at the White Elm Garden Centre. Look for the Bug Hut and the Reptile Hut if you know, do all your reptilian side of things, you know, or they might even have a pet alien in there as a reptilian, you know what I mean? So good evening, guys. Good evening. Mega. Right. So we've got to crack on with it, haven't we? We've got to address the elephant in the room. So how do you feel, Mr. Paranormal Paul, of what has happened this week regarding the elections?
Very disappointed, Russ. Very disappointed. No, I'm over the moon, mate. And can I just say, I didn't sway once. Every week you asked me who I thought was going to win, I knew in my heart of hearts that I know we sometimes differ in our ways of thinking when it comes to the people have the power. I know you're very much, you know, the powers that be, the dark state will always have an agenda that they'll manage to follow through, and this and that. And to be fair, I think this is exactly what I mean when I say the people do have the power. They tried everything to stop that man getting in, and the people weren't having none of it.
But they didn't, though, did they? I'll put that bluntly. They didn't stop it, did they? Because if the deep state wanted it, they would have just done what they did in 2020 and fixed the election.
Yeah, but could they have got away with it quite so easy? But okay, so that's one of the things as well, though, isn't it? So they did try, because when you look at the map that I sent you earlier, the only states that didn't require voter ID are the only states that Kamala won.
Yeah, but as I said, you know, in previous shows when we've linked this to previous shows, I've always gone along the lines of, you know, this is only a 4-year stopgap, if that. You know, this is only a 4-year break in the line, and that's it. They can live with that. They've lived with it. You know, whatever happens. You know, as I say, I'm with you. I'm glad he's got in. To break the bad news to you, Paul, I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok today, but in an episode of The Simpsons 17 years ago, after the second election of President Trump, he dies. Predicted in The Simpsons. Dies in 2024 in The Simpsons. Now, wow. I don't want to put all my, you know, I don't necessarily think that could happen. But
I'd like to think we've changed timelines since that.
I'm hoping a little bit, but with you know, I really got carried away. I really got carried away with what to to the point I had to go out. I would have just sat by that telly all day watching all the American news channels because it was quite interesting. And I, from watching it from when they first started in the morning to they opened the polls, and they was interviewing people outside of all these swing states, these potential bigwig states or whatever they call them. And it still makes no bloody sense to me how this works. We still got, electoral rolls and seats. I know it's, once again, it isn't just that clear cut. How many people vote, they get it. But, and I was sat there, I was watching it. I was watching it, and it was, and I said to you, didn't I? I said, I was texting you and said, this is so heavily biased against
Trump.
President Trump. Okay, what are we calling it now? President-elect Trump. Let's do it correctly. And the more you was watching it, you never heard one interview say when they spoke to people, who are you voting for? Not one of them said Donald Trump. Not one of them said that. Not one of them really said Kamala Harris. But you could end up, between the lines of what they were saying. Why did you vote for this person? It was heavily in line with what Kamala Harris was pushing. And
they were doing the same over here, though, Russ.
Yeah,
on the radio and on the news, they'd play two clips. Who's going to win? Polling's open, and they'd play a clip of Kamala Harris, give it, saying, "Come on, America, stand together, we can win this." And then it'll go over to Trump, and it'll go, "They're eating the animals." So they'll completely handpick what they want, the little clips they want to show of both. Both runners, and they've really done their best to portray Trump in such a bad light. And I was just overjoyed watching them all the following day. Just watching that smile wipe off their faces.
Well, the best one was the one I sent you.
Oh yeah,
Harry Sisson's face was an absolute. That was just a gift of giving. We've got loads of questions. We've got loads of comments coming in, but I will come to that in a minute because it does fit everything in. So I will come to all your comments in a minute, guys. I promise you. But I was listening to it and I was watching it, and you had everything going to sort of the swing state. I think the one that was really important was Pennsylvania. Was this key? It felt like everything hinged on this Pennsylvania for some strange reason, even though I don't think it did. When you actually looked at the generalization of all the color throughout the map, they were really pinning everything on this Pennsylvania. And we had people on there, voters on there saying, early exit polls are saying like, "Oh, very good. This is going to be an absolute landslide victory for Kamala Harris," and blah blah blah. But what I did feel sorry for is the people. It was Fox News. I had CNN News and I was flicking between them all. And fair due, they had two for Kamala Harris and two for Donald Trump. Okay. And I did feel sorry for the Donald Trump people.
Yeah. Because
they were fighting a losing battle all day until it started to, what had sort of transpired, and that, the rest were going back in their shells. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I managed to stay up to, I must have said, about 3:30, 4 o'clock watching it. I was sold. Honestly, Paul, I was engrossed with it. I was absolutely engrossed with it because I found it really intriguing. Who they were doing it to. And then when it started to swing in Donald Trump's favor, not to say the excuses were coming out, but you could then begin to understand why people voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And it's no different, Paul, to what we were saying on this show. When our general election happened, his key mandates or whatever you want to call them were quite simple. And to be fair, the bloke is a simplistic man.
Yeah.
It's not his doing that, it's the team around him. And I'd say that with the utmost respect for Donald Trump. You know, yes, he's a businessman. So when it comes to doing a deal or something like that, I understand it. But his three main policies were absolutely crack on the whip.
Yeah.
That was lowering food prices, lowering taxes, and lowering petrol or fuel.
And immigration.
But if you look at the exit polls, the immigration thing wasn't high on that agenda.
Really?
It wasn't high on that agenda. It really wasn't. It was the three main were, I think it come under economics or economic taxes and fuel. And if you listen to the people after that, you know, when the votes were coming out and they said, why did you vote Donald Trump? Then you got the things like, well, simple. I haven't got enough money to live.
Yeah.
You know, and when you actually strip it down, really strip it down, and I give a balanced argument because we try and be a balanced show here. Look, I'm with you, Paul. I was a Trump supporter all the way along. There was no point. I didn't agree with Kamala Harris or anything like that. But the exit polls were strongly, heavily, and I thought Kamala Harris's what was the abortion one? I thought that was going to be Trump's stumbling block there a little bit, especially with women voters, which I understand because I don't necessarily agree with.
I still don't get that because that's the only thing they just kept throwing out: abortion, abortion, abortion. But that was already put through a couple of years back. That's not the president can't decide that. That's a state thing.
Yeah,
that's
but
quite different from state to state.
But I understand how they were. The Democrats were portraying that to give that emphasis on that, and I thought, you know what? If that's me as not me as a woman, but as a woman looking at that, I'd be thinking, oh, that's a bit harsh. Do you know what I mean? I don't agree with that policy. Okay, that's my understand. So that was, you know, quite. I thought you've got the, you know, that's what I was worried about. So, and then you had, you know, let's cut to the chase. He's a convicted felon. Do you know what I mean? He is convicted. He's a convicted felon. We can't take that away. Okay, we can't take that away.
Okay, but let me jump in there. Yes, he is, but it's quite a low crime that he was actually convicted of. That most people with that crime don't go to jail and things like that. Now, the only reason he is a convicted felon is because they've used the justice system in their favour. Now, if Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Biden come up, if they all got chucked through that, they'd be in prison. They wouldn't be out walking. So it all goes down to that. The only reason he was convicted is because they, you know, if they went for them the same way they went for him, they'd all be convicted as well.
You know, look, at the end of the day, we can't take that away from it.
Oh yeah, no.
You know, he was tried for sex offences. So, but that didn't matter to people. That in itself is a little bit crazy to think.
Oh, the whole thing's crazy out there, I think.
But you know, they voted for a convicted, not sex, not a sex offender, because that makes him sound of sexual crimes, whatever, right? But that took away that people were solely focused on cheaper food to live, cheaper taxes, cheaper bills. That's massive for people.
Yeah.
And what did we say about probably 6-7 months ago? If you want to start your own party in the UK,
that's all you got to offer.
That's all you have to offer. It's very simple, and it's proved it in my eyes in the US, which is 4 times bigger, 5 times bigger than us, 10 times bigger than us. And even if it wasn't a fixed result or whatever, they were the things that people voted for, because that's what it matters. And I think that's very, very clever. You know, very, very clever marketing. Very, very good, you know, marketing strategy.
To listen to the people, and you've got to give them something to believe in, ain't you?
And you look at, you know, Kamala Harris and the Democrats. What were they doing consistently? They were sticking famous people up on the stage. Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, you name it. They had
just
George
talking about how
Clooney.
bad it's going to be under Trump, rather than saying what they can do for the people.
And that's it. And that doesn't help, because they're not in the position that the people are fighting for.
Nah.
And their marketing, I think they were idiots. I know they went for the young voters. I get that. You know, they took that pathway of, look, we're going to hit the young voters, so they want Beyonce, they want that. But really, you know, that wouldn't sway it for a young voter, because I didn't think Beyonce was more older, if that makes sense. George Clooney, older. You know, Mark Hamill, older. That's not my generation, but take another year off. So it's just weird. It was weird. They marketed it totally out of, and you had Donald Trump bringing, as we said, weird people on stage at certain times, like Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, and you just think, yeah, I get it, because we love that sort of person, because that's our generation. But what a bit of genius! They're in the same boat as them. They're in the same boat. They're, how do I put it in a polite manner? They're has-beens that probably need the money.
Sure.
Do you know what? So it's very, and it all goes down to that marketing, and he just stuck to them guns. Even with the music, YMCA still to me makes no sense.
Oh, no.
No sense. You know, it must be the only one he could get copyright on. Right? You know, are they all dead or something where they can't say no, you can't play it? It made, as a marketing ploy, it was genius, because everyone started to do the dance, didn't they?
Yeah,
you know?
Trump dance. Rather than,
And it was just, I just think, from looking back over it and seeing it, it was pure genius from his campaign, what they call them, campaign managers. Genius of how they got a convicted felon, you know, and I can't help say it, because it is. I'm not lying about that. It may be only small, and people forgot about that, and they voted in biggest turnout. Was it biggest turnout for in the previous years?
Yeah, I believe so, something like that. Yeah. But don't forget, it's quite a religious country as well, and he'd openly done that thing with his I forget the name of the reverend fella, pastor or whatever. You know, he renounced all his sins. He's done this. He's born again. He's done all, you know, and that goes a long way for the American people as well, doesn't it? You know, he's confessed his sins. He's, you know, and all that. And don't forget the assassination attempt and the way they feel it was the hand of God and things like that.
Exactly. And I've got so many comments that people are, I'm sorry, I'll go back to them, but I'm going to go to this last one. It was all for show for the TV. Sandra is currently in Florida, where obviously Donald Trump based his Mar-a-Lago, however you say it, mansion at the time. So it must have been pretty crazy over there, and it must have been something to endear to be over there at that time. I think it would have been quite entertaining. But And that's what I say. You know, like everything that we've seen is for show.
Excuse
And
me. Yeah.
I think both parties used great shows to put on. You know, we had singers on the Democrats, we had big names, we had this, and then we had assassination attempts of Donald Trump on one side. Just you say, it was just everything was perfect to the absolute T. And I think you know, of course, I think both you know, Donald Trump and all their campaign, as soon as that exit poll come out, and that, you know, there must have been nerves. There has to be, do you know, in that situation, you know, have we got this right? You know, and the nerves of people, you know, the justice system, because they know that Trump ain't going to accept it, and everything there would be going. If it was me, I'd be going. If I was in charge of that, I'd be thinking, you know what? I don't think I could sit through this. Just make him win it. Just, you know, 4 years. Let's get. I can't deal with anything else at this moment in time of him throwing his toys out of his pram, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because that's what it would have led to, wouldn't it? It would have led to that another craziness. But watching it, and I said to you, didn't I? I was giving you sort of in the mornings, like I'm watching this, and it's like, well, I might as well just watching Kamala Harris TV for the sake of watching it.
Yeah. But it's been like that throughout the whole thing. You only see what Trump was doing really through social media. You wouldn't see any of it on mainstream media.
But it just proves, though, keeping it off of mainstream media hasn't worked. Hasn't worked.
No, it hasn't.
I'm talking in
and that's a lot of your youth vote as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the turnout wasn't as high as youth as what Kamala Harris's was. But there was a lot of, I say, he hit his targets, didn't he? He went for the older generation. He went for Hispanic, wasn't it? And, you know, them sort of voters and all that, you know, that sort of line of votees, which he nailed. He absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, you take your hat off, you know, not say him, his team nailed it. And this is the most crazy thing that I just can't get my head around. Is one of his campaign managers. Do you know who one of his campaign managers is?
No.
Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, owner of the WWE.
Oh, really?
Do you not just find this just? It's
Well, that's
crazy.
where the entertainment value comes from, then, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Them, you know, and once again, we are dealing with another potential. Her husband's been brought over the coals for the same sort of thing. You know, I'm not saying he is. Please, that's not what I'm saying. But no one is clean cut. No one is clean cut in this race.
No one is, and no one's got the perfect. You know, no one's perfect, and in both teams, no one team was perfect. You know, there are things and views that Trump's got that I really don't like, but out of the two of them, I'm Trump all the way. You know, and they keep saying about his previous term. Well, it was the best they ever had. It really. He's the only president that didn't start any new wars, the only president that didn't start any new wars. The economy had never been any better, and everyone seems to have dismissed it. And they're saying, but look at the state we're in now. Yeah, but you've been under Democrat rule for 4 years. So how's Trump to blame for that?
It is crazy just to... But that's how politics works, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just a wait and see now, isn't it? You know,
it is.
And that's all it comes down to.
Is this, you know, I'm going to go back through the comments. So they're going to be a bit lagged and we might have to readdress some things. So we're going to go back through some things. Okay. I usually agree with Russ. I say I usually, he doesn't unusually agree with Russ that they could have stopped it, but had already decided for the change. So they will wait for another chance to assassinate Trump or do something else.
Yeah,
I think they're going to give him the 4 years because then he's out of their hair. He can't run another term.
I think they're going to do the same as they did the first term. The slightest little mistake, they're going to jump on him. The same as they did the first time. Whereas Biden, he could mess up every single day and nothing was said. But with Trump, the slightest little thing goes wrong, they're going to be on him straight away. I'll tell you that.
I don't feel assassination attempt. I don't feel an assassination attempt. I don't feel that. I feel like that he will run his term, and
there's a prediction that he's going to run longer than he should, more than anyone else.
And that,
I don't know how that would work.
That would work under the bad terms, I think, wouldn't it? Same as George W. Bush.
No, earlier than that, wouldn't it? I know where you're going. He done three and a half terms, didn't they? And they decided to.
Yeah, because when Bush was at war, wasn't he?
Oh right, yes.
If it goes to war, they don't vote, and I think it was W. Bush when he went to war with the. I could be wrong, could be totally wrong, but was one of the. I remember reading that because that's how I believed that Biden was going to stay in for longer than he would if he could send people. You know, if they go to war or something, there's something to do if they don't have to vote for until it settles or something like that. So let's, we shall see. We shall see. It's going to be exciting times ahead. I say we've still got 2.5 months before he's even inaugurated. So
yeah, a lot of that.
What was it today that they were saying on the news? They're trying to push forward his court case in November now, aren't they? No, in December till the end of November, because he should be getting 4 years imprisonment. Surprised that 4 years term, So
ridiculous.
Even all on the Simpsons prediction, also predicted Kamala Harris was going to win the election. So perhaps they covered all bases in the Simpsons. That is nearly true. But the Kamala Harris episode or the Lisa Simpson episode was the VP they got right. The purple dress and the pearl necklace. Remember that? That was about the VP. So they got that right. But how do the Simpsons cover all bases when it comes to the likes of predicting Donald Trump to be president, which that's a long shot, isn't it? That's a good shot. Jim has said the Trump death in The Simpsons never happened. The images is a doctored one and never appeared in any episode, according to Simpson experts. Good one. That's good to know. Makes me feel better now. The Deep State knew that it would be a landslide victory. They'll bide their time for another day. There's a lot of evenings going on. They kept calling him Hitler, and the people aren't that dumb.
Yeah.
Philip is in there. Hi, Philip Solomon is in there. Dan says, I think it's probably quite crazy coincidence that Paul is his surname and paranormal of all words is his first. Oh God. The exact McMahons know how to entertain.
Did you see any of it out there, Sandra? I'd love to know.
So, how do you see this going forward for the world? How do you, if let's just say he does manage to stay his term.
I think it's going to have a knock on, because everything that happens in America gradually feeds out, especially to Europe. But don't forget, Trump openly admits the first time round he didn't really know what he was doing, and that's why a lot of the team that he had around him got fired and this and that. He's a lot more prepared this time, and look at the team he's got around him. Robert Kennedy, what a man to have on your side. I mean, just if they manage to achieve what he wants to do alone and nothing else, then that's a win for the whole world, really, you know. So, and you know, you've got Elon Musk who's backing him, you know, one of the richest men in the world, but he has got his finger on a pulse. And I know a lot of people are undecided about the man, but he is a clever fella. And when you listen to him on some of the interviews, I mean, it's a bit wacko, which I think, you know.
Who sorry, Trump or Musk?
Elon Musk. You know, but he seems to, the last few years, really change to me. He's really sort of come round to our way of thinking, if you get what I mean. You know, he's not for censorship. He wants to start up his own search engine to come away from Google, because Google's so suppressed and, you know, it's narrative driven, Google now. So he wants to start up a new search engine that ain't going to be suppressed, and it's going to have freedom of speech. Obviously, it's going to have restrictions, but you're not going to be censored just for telling the truth or having an opinion. And I think that's such a freedom of speech is such a vital part of life, you know. And yeah, I hope that sort of swings its way over here. And if it's a success over there, and it's shown to be a success over there, there's no reason why it shouldn't swing over here.
I think the Elon Musk thing is very, very clever.
100%.
And I think they're both using each other, and I think they probably both hate each other. That's how I see it. You know that?
Really?
You know, I just think, you know, as two businessmen like Musk and Trump, what they got to lose?
Yeah.
You know, Musk has got SpaceX, he's got this Starlink, and, you know, look at when he did that interview with, when they had them terrible floods in wherever it was, and all the power went out and there was no communication.
Yeah.
Trump run up Elon and said, you've got something in the sky, get it over to that direction, and he done it. You know, we've got business people here knowing, like, Musk knows that if Trump wins and he sides himself with that, he's going to get the state position, or, you know, if they've got a cabinet place of technology guru, and Trump goes, I'll have some of that. I've got a rocket, I've got Starlink, I've got the best communication network going.
Yeah,
I'll run you for that. And then Trump, on the other hand, is going, well, he's very big because every young kid knows who Elon Musk is, and they've got this Starlink going off. They've got that. It's just two very, very clever people in the same room that you would never put together, in my eyes. You know, as you say, Elon Musk he's as come on stage, you would have said, go and stand next to Joe Biden, mate. Go and stand next to him.
Yeah, I know he's like a kid, wasn't he?
It was like, okay, I don't really know where to look.
I see an interview and he goes, what are you going to do if Trump loses? And he's like, yeah, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. He said, how long do you reckon I'll get in prison?
But this is what I'm saying. He was very clever at that time. This goes back to that marketing people. Robert Kennedy was an absolutely a genius move. I thought it was the wrong move. Sandra, I'll reword your comments. That Sandra needs to go. The pool is starting to get busy and the beers are getting warm. Have a good evening.
Have a fantastic time, Sandra.
Where was it? That move regarding Robert Kennedy? Because I would have loved Robert Kennedy to win it.
But he never would have done. I don't think he ever would have done it. So I think it was the smartest thing he could have done, you know.
And you listen to his interview this morning, which was absolutely, and it comes from a place quite close. And the only reason I sided with Kennedy, and he's what I believed in, because he had you eating out of both hands here. Do you know what I mean? He never poo-pooed that there was environmental damage. He loved his green belt areas. He loved the fact that we've got countryside. He loved that fact. He was an animal man. He had this ability to do, you know, look at he's 70 years of old and he's still got muscles like up here. Do you know, he's doing workouts with but the one thing I really liked about him, and he said, look, and he did this interview this morning, and they said to him, you know, as Donald Trump spoke to you, and he said, look, we've spoke about it because there's rumours that he's going to be the equivalent to the health secretary over here.
Yeah.
He said, we've spoke about it, but we're not too sure. At the moment, Donald Trump has asked me to oversee the vaccination program within America. And the woman said to him, so is what you're going to do is you're going to take all these vaccinations off the table then for all these people that might need them. He said, no, I'm not. He said, where are you getting that from?
Yeah.
He said, I am not taking any vaccination away from the table. He said, people called me an anti-vaxxer during the COVID pandemic. He said, I was not against the vaccine. At no point did I say I was against the vaccine. Is all he said. Is not monitored. The system of vaccinations are not monitored. And she said, so you're definitely not taking. He said, why would I? Why would I take a medication away from somebody that may need that medication? He said, is all I want is scientific data to remove such drugs and replaced with a drug that doesn't cause such things as autism, as such things as dementia. You know, he said, that's what I'm looking at. The actual fundamentals here of what could be going on within these vaccinations. And that's what I've got to oversee. And he said, clear as day this morning, he said, Donald Trump has given me 2 years to get that sorted. That's a tight, you know. He really bit the woman's head off, though, when she called him an anti-vaxxer.
He's already done a lot of that work already. He knows what's in them. He knows what causes the harm. So all he's got to do now really is go through the process of having them take it out. But he wants the manufacturers to take liability now, because all vaccines come liability free from the people that make them, which it can harm as many people as it wants because they don't get no comeback for it. And, you know, one of the things he said is if it turns out that that particular vaccine causes autism, ADHD, dementia, this and that, he said, you know, if that liability is then on them, I guarantee you that if the first thing you need to do is put the liability back on the producers, the pharmaceutical companies that are making the vaccines. He said, and I guarantee you, I won't even have to look at the data because as soon as that liability goes back on them, they'll take them back off the market before it even gets the data comes out, because they know what's in them. They know what it does.
Well, he blames a vaccination for his voice, doesn't he? Because his sister's got exactly the same voice.
Right.
There's exactly the same. His sister has exactly the same issue with his voice, and he blames some form of vaccination for that. I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
Love. I've got so many comments coming through. Sandra's answered your question. Watching the votes coming in while eating at Denny's, Harris was in the lead in most states. Then, oops, let Trump in again. Yes, so a load of campaigners and voting systems is just crazy. Couldn't explain it if I tried. Strangely, not much mention after the voting had finished. Loving already all the things Trump has announced. The world is a lighter place today. I don't quite know what he said. He's put his list together. I don't quite know what the list is.
Yeah, the things he wants to bring out as well, isn't it? The JFK files. He said he's going to release the disclosure on the UA. I don't know if he 100% said about that though, did he? Yeah, the
Who's
Kennedy
this? Donald Trump or Kennedy? Or is this
Trump.
Kennedy or Trump?
This is Trump. Disclosure on 9/11. I don't know about that. Boulder, yeah, sort that out. Ban the View. Well, I don't think they'll get away with it. But I think they're definitely going for the mainstream media out there.
I don't think they're going to have a choice now. I think they're going to have to really I think, you know, a lot of, their late night shows really hammered it home last night, didn't they?
All they got to do is just go on when they lie, and they blatantly lie. You know, look at the trouble we've had over here, and you're spreading misinformation. But if they're doing it, fine them.
I get it. I do get that, but then, you know, that's sort of you said, he said sort of situation now, isn't it? You know, look at the lies you've said. Well, I told no lies, but look at the lies you've said. You know, it's sort of, you know, it's a bit of he said.
You've only got to look at this when he does his rallies. You know, they'll take one little sentence out of his rally, and they'll say, "This is what he meant. This is what he meant," and everyone up in arms. And when you watch the whole speech, it had nothing to do with what was on mainstream media. It was on something completely different.
But they did
say
that there was it wasn't Linda McMahon. It was another lady in his campaign. Her name was Susie something.
Yeah,
and yeah, she had, you know, she had grey hair, and she said is what she used to do is that she used to go and stand in the middle of the stage in front of him and watch him, and if she ever stood up, he would shut up, because that is she telling him that you shan't say that. And he actually, people said he listened to her something chronic. Absolutely. And she said there was one thing, you know, about the dog eating dogs and all that.
Yeah.
She ripped him a new arsehole. She ripped his
true.
Apparently not. She said,
I'm telling you, mate,
she come out and said on an interview, she said I shut him down pretty quickly because her words was I shut him down pretty quickly because we didn't have any information on what he was saying.
Oh, right.
That's what so it could have been true. I'd say that I jumped the gun. Ice Lady, he calls her. That's Susan. Yeah. And she absolutely ripped into him. She said, of all the things that he could have said at this moment, she said that could have cost us an election. And she was so honest with him.
Yeah.
And like they all said, like whatever she said, he jumped. So, you know,
brilliant.
You know, fair play. 9/11 disclosure is to show the truth that it was an inside job. Many remote viewers had the same data that points to an inside job to push the terrorism narrative to allow the war in the Middle East. I don't think that will ever come out, but I think people know it anyway, don't they?
Yeah,
it's one of
a lot
things,
of people do, don't they?
It's another one of them things that you'll never get a true answer to. It was all to do with gas prices and everything as well, wasn't it? And, you know, the control of oil and things like that. And, you know, we've had all them, you know, that really good documentary that someone did. It got taken off the telly very quickly. It was all imploded from inside, and
it was controlled demolition, wasn't it?
Exactly.
When you slow down some of the footage, you could see it in time. Like,
yeah. And the wingspan of the plane with no fuselage crashed into the Pentagon, and you know, I think that's already, in my eyes, that's already disclosed. You know, I think that's it. You make up your own mind. I think it's, to me, it's make up your own mind on that one. I think if you believe something actually went on, yeah, we know that 2 planes crashed into the Twin Towers and all them lives were lost, which is truly awful. If that's, you know,
but it's even worse if it turns out to be an inside job.
Yeah, but then that would, even if Donald Trump disclosed that, you know, what does that prove? You know, they'll just go after him and say he's got something to hide then, don't they? So,
well, there's one of the things he said about disclosing the JFK files as well, wasn't it? He said you have to time it right. He said, because if there's anyone alive still that was involved, then that can cause a lot of trouble. And you're like, well, so he knows.
I think, you know, once again, the JFK thing, you know, it's that, you know, where do you stand with it moment, isn't it? The JFK thing. It's that, you know.
To me, that must mean that Bobby Kennedy must know already then, because
I think Bobby Kennedy,
otherwise he'd be pushing in for it, wouldn't he?
But I do not think that was one of the bargaining chips.
Got to be.
You know.
Yeah. 100%.
I would be all like, you know, that if, you know, look, I'll, you know, I'll give your uncle's files. You join me. You support me. You drop out the race. You know, come and support me. There's the file. Bang. Kept in me Mar-a-Lago home. There we weren't supposed to keep files, but did keep files. Once again, same as Biden, convicted felon. But once again, but you know what I mean? So that, it was, yeah. You know, I think that was a massive bargaining chip there. I would say it was, at the end of the day, you've only really got to look at the evidence. I think the gunshot wound was in the wrong direction, wasn't it? You know, one of the conspiracies was that it was the accidental gunshot of the bodyguard in the front, wasn't it?
It was a driver. Have you seen that video where you actually see him turn round and shoot?
Yeah, but there's also a theory that it went. He sat down, didn't he? The gun went off in the back. It clips into his side pouch.
Oh,
he accidentally put it in his side pouch, and it just shot him straight through. You know, I say, unless you was can time travel and sit in the car and watch it, eye for eye, you're never gonna, you know, you're never gonna witness it, are you? You're never gonna get the evidence. You know, JFK's brain went missing, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
What, you know,
where's that screams everything, didn't it? Really?
Yeah. Why's his brain gone missing? What's in his brain? What have they got? You know. So, but this could be all heading towards another mission. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about disclosure of the JFK thing. Is it not just?
It's the other thing that they're saying there, isn't it? You know, because a lot of people are going on about past and they said, listen, you know, the past is done. You can't do nothing about it. Biden's brain gone missing.
Definitely.
You know, now's the time to look at the future, and I make them right. You know, as much as people want to hold a grudge and the way they'd be treated and things like this. What are you actually going to achieve if you spend all your time trying to fight your past, you know, struggles and troubles? That's you've got a position here to just work on the future. So time well spent there.
Well, you know, we look at back now. We look at the, you know, we have to address the funniest thing that I've witnessed. I don't know if you've seen the video, but Mr. 13 Keys. Did you see the video of Mr. 13 Keys?
No, I haven't.
Or whatever his name is.
He had Harris to win, didn't he?
But did you see he did a 5-hour live, and they've clipped the TikTok video, and they've gone. They're talking about Pennsylvania, and he goes, and he's got, obviously they've got the screen up, and he looks right in and he goes, it's 90%. I think it's over. My career's over. And that's it. If I find it, I'll send it to you, because it is it's just pure comical. You could see his eyes drain, and then there was a video the other day come up the next morning. I need to take a couple of days away from social media. I need to analyze where the keys failed. I need to analyze where the keys went wrong. And I'm like, it's just comedy genius at this moment, because you can see his career's fucked. His career's a entire sport. His career has gone. You know, he's lived for how many years on these 13 keys?
Oh, brilliant.
And it's gone. You know, his career is now gone. No one's going to speak to him again in 4 years' time, are they?
Brilliant.
Your keys are wrong last time. Billy the Bear that popped the balloon that said Donald Trump got them more right than what you did, mate. So I'm going to believe Billy the Bear next year. You know,
but seeing some of the reactions, I must admit, it's just it's cringeworthy. Some of them, you know, it's so really. You think it's what do you think's going to happen? You know, I just don't get it.
I genuinely don't. I genuinely don't see. I think we've got to worry more about what could happen rather than what could happen over there, because he's for the American people. He don't care about us. He doesn't care about Europe. He doesn't care about Asia. He doesn't care what happens around the world. We have got more worries than that. We've already predicted that, we import a hell of a lot from China. Now, if he puts these implements the tax hikes on Chinese imports in China from Chinese imports into their country, that really does make a massive dividends on us. Massive. And we're in no bargaining power at the moment with who we've got in control.
Oh, God, no.
Who we've got in control is upset but President Trump more than anyone in the world. So there's a lot of digging themselves out of a hole here. And as much as I'm all for Donald Trump getting in the States, I think we need to worry over here a little bit, just a tiny bit, not in a bad situation.
I don't think we do too much, because all that's going to happen really, I mean, Keir Starmer's just going to have to tuck tail and run because he's upset so many people, and the fact that him and the I'll forget his title, the one that called Trump a neo-Nazi and the KKK and this and that, and you think, and you're going to have to deal with this fella now. And this is after they sent 100 strong team out to America to promote Harris. They're gonna out Starmer. Not long for Lammy. That's it. Thank you very much, Joe. And he's such good friends with Farage, and Farage is our Trump in my eyes. He says what people are thinking. Trump says what people are thinking, and they're demonized because you're not allowed to say that in politics.
But that doesn't help us at this moment in time, because obviously Farage is not in.
No, it's not, and I'm not saying that's going to get him in. But to me, that's just going to work in our favour, because it's either going to get Starmer out, or Starmer's going to have to turn his way around to thinking to help go along with Trump.
But because I was listening to one, guy today about, and they are seriously worried about how much we import from China into the UK, and if at one, I know Trump's exaggerating, because he does do that. We can't not lie about his exaggerations, but he's going to implement a 300% tax on any import of Chinese goods into the US. Now, that will have a massive knock-on effect to Europe and the UK, as them prices will hike. And they will
have into the US. That's not into us, is it?
No, but the Chinese will then put them taxes on to us, because they will.
Right with you.
That's what will happen.
Either that, or he's, he done it before.
Right, Simon, take care, Mayday. Thanks for watching.
Till that, Si. I can't remember what company it was, and he said, "I'll put such high tariffs on that you won't be able to sell any of them over here unless you want to build them factories up, put them factories over here, so it gives American people American jobs in this country. That way, you haven't got to import it, and we won't charge you the tariffs. Bring your stuff over here. You build the factory, because we ain't paying for it. You want to sell it over here, you build the factory, you give our people the jobs, and it works." And I thought, what a great idea.
But we haven't got the infrastructure over here. We used to, but we haven't got the infrastructure over here. We
haven't. Not compared to America and the room in America, but
no.
That being said, Russ, we have.
we need it. If we can self-support ourselves, that
every country can.
But at the end of the day, we can't. Trump is going to shut down China pretty quickly. We know that, because that's how he got it to work last time. He wants that make America great again, build your own. And I say, Joe's here said there, Tesla is laughing. You know what I mean? We've got, we just go back a little bit. What we said at the beginning, how Musk is so bloody clever. We've got a bloke here that's inventing electric cars to save the environment, but he's coincided himself with a bloke that doesn't care about the environment at all. So
but that's not true either. He does. He just doesn't believe all this man-made climate nonsense that's going round.
No,
he wins awards for his golf courses for being environment agencies and things like that. He puts a lot of effort into making sure they're tip top and they do it at the least amount of damage to the surrounding environment.
I say I get it all, and I do get it. I just think we are going to be. It's not the fact is we don't have at this moment in time. We do not have a good relationship with the states because of who we have in power. And that is going to be a really big issue in my eyes. And not only that, he doesn't have he does. He has good friends in, is it Bulgaria, Hungary? President Trump is really close to them nations. I know that he's good friends with the French bloke, Marion Macron. But I don't think he's in at the moment. Is he Macron? I don't know if he got booted out, did he, or is he stepping down? Or
yeah, I heard that. I thought he got, because they elected a new person in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Again, it was all right wing, right wing, right wing, right wing. Everywhere's going right wing because the people are voting, the ones that make a difference.
Tesla's robots won't have any trade competition either. Joe wants one, a female one that doesn't answer back. You said that, Joe, not me. I'm just reading your comment out for anyone that's watching. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens, but I do worry, and I don't worry on a sense of what's going to go on worldwide. I don't. I more worry for the benefit of our country when it comes to what could go on here, especially if Trump does start banging his, I say, he doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about anybody else apart from America, which is good. And that's how it should be. That should be how your leader of your country sees it. He won't send money and aid to all these countries that need it. He won't do that. The money will stay in his country to help the people of his country.
Yeah, of course they are. He's already said that about the UN, isn't he? The UK and Europe don't put in as much. He said, it's UK run sort of thing. Our side of it, and we're putting in what, barely 2%. He said, no, I'm not paying to support you lot because they put in pretty much the most amount of money. So yeah, and you kind of make him right, I mean, we've got to look at the plus side as well, though, Russ. Sadiq Khan said he's going to leave London if Trump gets in. So that's a win straight away, isn't it? If we can take him on his word there.
Well, I did see, I'm sure we had a comment like that. I had so many comments coming. I haven't read them all. Where's it gone? I'm sure, I hope them celebrities leave off now. And the ones that they all said, didn't they? They would all. I think Samuel Jackson was going to go to South Africa. Tom Hanks was going to leave, wasn't he? But they're not going to, are they? They're not going to leave, are they? Because again,
it's all a show. It's all a show.
They're actors.
Actors. I like Ricky Gervais. Did you see him? The one he done where he was sitting in the box. You've got to listen to my opinion because I'm a valuable person. Vote for who I say vote for. Oh, it's brilliant.
But that's it. That is it. That's what this was all about, wasn't it? It was all about what it was. And I say, it was a fabulous watch. It is better than any cinema. I think it is all for show. It is all for show. They go around all these states, triumphing, don't they? All these rallies and it is.
It looks like a great atmosphere, though. I mean, we just don't get that sort of. patriotism over here? Do we like, you know, I mean, the thousands, you're talking thousands of people all wearing the same colour. You can fly the flag as long as you want, and it ain't going to
But we've
upset
never
no
been
one.
patriotic, have we? We've never been
Not
patriotic.
like that. Not like that.
We've never been patriotic. When it comes to things like that, you know, we don't even. What is it? St. David's Day or St. George's Day? We don't even
George's
celebrate,
Day,
do
yeah.
we?
Not
You
allowed to day off.
yeah,
You're not allowed to celebrate it, are you?
Independence Day, the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You know, look at that. The Thanksgiving's coming up, isn't it? Soon.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love what's gone on. You know, great he's got in. I do worry for the UK at this moment in time because I can't see bridges being built. I really, really can't. And that's the strange thing about it. I do worry. I think there's always, it's unbalanced at the moment. It is unbalanced.
But they know that. I mean, I've heard that one where he quotes Sadiq Khan, funny enough, not quotes him, talks about him about, you know, he's not doing a very good job. You know, crime's gone up, this has gone up there, and he knows it ain't the people. He knows it's the people in charge that are causing the problems over here.
Well, we shall see. We shall see what will happen over the next. I say we've got to get to January first to see if he gets in. That's not if he ain't put in prison or, you know, is the bigger picture. They give the people what they want. Are they going to take it from under their nose?
That will be a civil war, I think, if something like that happens.
But is that what they want? We don't know, do we? No,
that could be their fight back, couldn't it?
Civil war's been predicted. Baba Vanga and Nostradamus 2025, civil war in America, both predicted civil war within the US. So we shall see. We shall see. Will there be riots? Will there be riots? In the States? I'm assuming, Joe. Yeah, I believe so. I think there will be riots. Will there be riots? Yeah, I think there will be.
If they bang him up.
Yeah. See, Mickey was on the same wavelength as me. Mickey was on the same wavelength of me. Like, Hart always said Donald Trump all the way through it, but I just couldn't see it. I just didn't, you know, with everything that's gone on, you know, why would they want someone like him in charge? That's, you know, the deep state. But it was, there was a video. I went to send it to you, but you know when you flick too fast and it disappears, and I couldn't find it again to send it to you. A really good. If people, he was going on. If people think that the deep state just hand over power willy-nilly just like this, you've got to be joking. They've played everything into their hands, their game. It would only work for them. If they didn't want it to happen, it would never have happened. And I was like, you know, I see it. And maybe it's just a fight for 4 years, you know, let him have a fight. But he's even reclaimed Senate as well, isn't it? Which was different.
Yeah, he won the whole lot.
Which was different this time around. Because I don't think he had that, did he, in the first time?
It was Democrat run, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I don't quite know how that works, but you know, that's going to be more power to him, I'm assuming. If the Senate's on his side, because that's what runs it theoretically, isn't it? Senate.
Oh, yeah.
They vote on his things, don't they, more than anything? But yeah, I haven't really got much more to say on it, to be fair. Have you, Paul?
No, all I've got left to say on that really is I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm not overly worried about it myself. I think, given time, you're going to start seeing the progression being made, and it's going to shut a lot of people up, I think.
Well, let's just hope. Let's put everything in that hope bag, and I will do. Well, we've still got 20 minutes of the show left, guys, so we're opening up to questions. Let's see if they've got any questions. I just want to put this in front of you while people ask us questions, guys. Joe got me something really good for my birthday. All right. And I just want to show everybody because I think it's really good. Look.
Oh, brilliant. Use of deadly full for eyes. Love it.
Okay. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I really think that is brilliant. It's going right next to me alien lamp. That is. Do you think he's got disclosure on this UAP stuff? Do you think he's going to go down this route?
I don't know. Did you watch the Joe Rogan interview with Trump?
No, I didn't.
So he asked that question as well, and he was like, he's like, I haven't dug that deep into it. He said, but I've spoke to a lot of fighter pilots. You know, he said, I'm talking good guys, strong fighter pilots, and you know, and the stories that they tell me, I can categorically say there is something out there, but that's pretty much as far as he went with it. So, but I mean, he started that Space Force thing as well, didn't he?
That was just,
yeah. But I see one guy on one of his rallies. I just see a video earlier, funny enough, and he was saying the Biden-Harris campaign, they sacked me. He said I was a commander in the SpaceX or whatever it was called, Space Force. And they got rid of me. They sacked me because I wouldn't go along with their woke ideologies. He said, you need to have a department set up independent from the government if you want to run it like that. So they can't just throw all these policies in, you know. And he said, that's a good idea. We'll do that. And you can run it. This was Trump. We'll do that. And you can run it. And the geezer was like, okay. He said, you happy with that? Yes, sir.
And once again, who's he aligned himself with?
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Rockets at your plenty. You know? Yeah. And, you know, he said, you know, so, yeah, Joe watched it. Trump was very cagey about his answers.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say he was cagey. He was when it comes to the disclosure things with JFK and the UAPs and things like UFOs. But I thought a lot of it was quite chilled, and yeah, I enjoyed. I thought it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. I haven't watched the whole of the Elon Musk one yet. I'm going to watch that, I think, because I've seen clips that look pretty good.
I suppose he has to be careful of what he does say, though. You know.
100%. You know, you have got. It's not just like two blokes down the pub. You've got to have a bit of resolve, haven't you?
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful. You know, I suppose being president and then being elected president is two different things. But yeah, I suppose he's got to watch. You know, he has got a brain on. He doesn't want to cause mass hysteria, does he? At the end of the day, you know, just too yet. But as I spoke last week, I put all my sort of theories on the line, speaking about obviously Cannock Chase and, you know, my belief of obviously President Trump, you know, where he visited, what he visited. You know, I think that will happen again. I think it will happen at some point in the next 4 years if he's still with us.
That'd be interesting to see, though. That'd be keep your eye out on that if he does come over here and whereabouts he goes to visit.
Well, we always know he obviously he's got golf courses up in Scotland, doesn't he? So we know he goes, you know, to Scotland and things like that. But yeah, I would be very interested to see, you know, where he does. I say we're never going to know every footstep he goes. We know that, but
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it does intrigue me a little bit. I don't quite know how that would work. I'm assuming that we would have a state visit at some point in the next coming years. He did meet with the Queen, didn't he? So I'm assuming that there will be some form of state visit if we are on good terms with, you know, Trump's team and our team, which is not looking promising at the moment. But I suppose you've got to get the parties in the room to have a
look at the idiots last time he come over here. You know, the hype before he come over here, the mainstream media was in full effect, demonising the man, so it created all this hate. So then when he come over, you had all these people trying to protest against him, and you're like, and they'll do the same again
Of course they will.
over here.
Of course they will. Of course they
Yeah.
will. He won't like King Charles. You know, that's for another debate, I think, on that one. But no, I totally agree with you there, because it seemed, you know, I know there was a lot of things, wasn't there, when he met the Queen. There was a lot of things that they pulled him across the lines for, didn't they? You know, like shaking of hands and not greeting her and things like that. But how true that, you know, how true that was, or did they just get the right camera shot at the right time? And, you know, who knows? Didn't they try and ban him from coming?
Yes.
Didn't work though, did it?
No, it didn't.
I know he had a full state visit, didn't he? So I think they did drop something though, didn't they? Yeah, he put his arm around the Queen, something like that. But you know, that's just I think it's just a natural thing to do, isn't it? And at the end of the day, if you know, I don't know Donald Trump from Adam, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? He's just a person. But he might just be one of them people that just greet you as a greet you. But, you know, he might just, you know, it just might just be, you all right? How you doing? You know what I mean? It might be that, you know what I mean? It might be that.
All right, match.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's still, you know, if he's never met the Queen before, there's going to be nerves in there, surely.
Oh, series, yeah.
You know, I don't care how brash you are and what, you know, you would do anything to make yourself comfortable, wouldn't you? And, you know, break that ice. You know, don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this. You can't look with your left eye. You can only look with your right eye. You got to curtsy. You got to do this. You can't shake your hand. You got to do this. There's a lot to take in, apparently, when it comes to meeting the Queen, isn't it? Like on a professional level. So if he's, you know, he might have tried to be as professional as he can, and just that one instance where he's forgot to do something, it made him look like an absolute. So what? So he put his arms around the Queen. What has that got to do with the price of eggs? Be different if he slapped her. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? You're all right. How you doing, Lizzie? You know what I mean? I get it. Go ballistic. But just putting your arms on her or giving her a hug. At the end of the day, she's a human being. She ain't nothing else. Or she wasn't nothing else in my eyes. You know what I mean? You know, I wouldn't want to give her a hug. She might bit me or something like that. I hope he didn't goose her. What? I'm lost on that one. Is that a Suffolk thing, Joe? But yeah, I just hope there is more disclosure. I suppose that's what I hope for. I hope we do get a little bit more UAP-ish stuff, extraterrestrial stuff. But I suppose, what more do I want, to be fair? What more do I want, you know?
Well, this is all coming out now, isn't it? You know, all these predictions and things that are meant to be coming over to us, they should be arriving anytime soon.
Well, wasn't it that someone's predicted the 4th, 5th and 6th of December? Two important days, but they didn't say why. Something to do with Donald Trump and all that was the 5th and 6th of December. Or was it the 3rd and 4th? Don't know. Once again, it's another video I've watched. Something prediction that Baba Vanga and Nostradamus made. So it was early December, 2 days in early December. And it was single digits. It wasn't like 10, 11, 12. It never went past them. So, but yeah, it's a bit more disclosure, a bit more. I suppose I just want the truth now. Don't you get fed up of sort of biting your own tongue with it now? Do you know? You know, I've had I've had my evidence. Do you know what I mean? I know there's other things out there. I know things exist out there. I know that now.
It's one of them, isn't it? When you think you want something to come out that so everyone knows. So when you try and engage in conversation, when you talk about that things, you know, not that it bothers me, but you always get them certain people that look at you like you're a kid nutter.
Yeah.
And where I think that a lot of that would stop. You could just talk about stuff like that then. So, but yeah.
But then, do I actually want it? The more I sit here and I think I'm going to retract that statement. Because if I do actually want it, and it actually happens, then what am I looking for? What am I looking for? How boring does that become? How boring?
That's why they say, innit? You know, it's the journey, innit? It's not the destination.
Yeah.
You know, if you uncovered everything to do with the paranormal, and you had all the answers, what do you do then?
That's it. That is it.
It's the hunt, isn't it? It's the hunt that you enjoy.
What happens to this show? What, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm retracting every statement I've just said. I don't want it to happen. I do not want it to happen. I like the thrill of the fight. I love the thrill of the fight. I love it. I love it. The chase, whatever you want to call it. That's my favourite. That's my favourite. I love to sit in the garden looking up at the stars. I love pointing that video camera.
And wondering and then imagining as well, isn't it? You know, and running through your head, what would it be like to actually face to face meet them, and what would it actually, you know? Yeah, all right, we'd like it to happen, but then what?
Well, just before I forget to mention, I have now got the video that we can zoom in and I can show you what we saw.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay. That is actually, I redone it. I resent it a different way. I sent it via email and it didn't actually downgrade the footage. I tried it by AirDrop, WhatsApp, and I just couldn't get the zoom in that we had on Simon's camera. So we transferred it, or whatever you want to call it. And it never dropped the thing, and you can zoom right in it and see what moves across the back.
Please send it over.
Yeah, well, I'm actually, I'll meet up with you. I'm seeing you on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'd rather show you with the actual footage and use
100%.
Simon's camera, because then that would be the ultimate, because you can actually see everything that you need to see in that moment.
Brilliant.
And once I've got it all edited down and everything, you will see it live on this channel, which is, it's second to none footage. Probably the best I've ever seen. I've seen things. I can't put it down to anything because of just the way it moves. The more you zoom in on it, the more you just see it's not a bug. It's not a craft. It is literally something running.
Yeah, it's going at some speed and all, wasn't it?
But actually, when you not slow it down, but when you watch it zoomed in, it's just the one that Simon caught, Joe, the one that Simon caught in Cannock. When you zoom in on it, it doesn't move. You just see it. It comes in, and you actually see it come behind. So there's the trees like that, and you actually see it run behind the trees and out. So you see it before it just in the open bit.
Comes in the open, yeah.
And you actually see, like, you see torso. You see, not like you can see. Yeah, you can. You can see something doing that. It looks like something's running. 100%. There's three different movements. So you get the movement of it moving across with two other movements next to it. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating to see. And I think when you see the apps, like the zoomed in shot, you will you will just you'll go wow, and that everyone sees it like holy hell. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it looks like the Trump dance. But yeah, but just at high speed. But I say high speed, it doesn't move it moves fast, but it doesn't move as fast as you think it moves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, because when I see it, I mean, that was quick.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. Once you zoom in on it and see the bigger picture of it, and you get the context of the two trees, yeah, it moves fast.
Yeah.
I'd say it moves back that fast across the screen. But I wouldn't say it moved fast like a craft fast. Like we go. Woof.
It was definitely a person, wasn't it? That was.
Definitely some form of living. Living organism, so to speak. 100%, 110%. So, yeah, you'll see that, and we will dig a little bit deeper into that next week. We will have a little bit of a lighter show next week, guys. It won't be so political, but obviously we had to keep it a physical entity. 100%, Joe. Like them words. It will be less political next week. We will definitely make it less political for everybody. Oh, no, it won't be next week. It won't be. It'll be the week after. All right? It'll be the week after. There'll be no show next week, guys. All right? There'll be no show. I think my tooth is being done next week.
Oh, right.
All right? So there'll be definitely no show because it's going to be pushed later. So my tooth's being done about 3 o'clock, I think. So, yeah, I'll definitely be
no show.
No show next week. But the week after, we'll be doing a lot light-hearted show, less political. But we had to do a political one today because it was such big news, and we do speak about it. And it's good to say that. Well, it's a sad day as well, though, isn't it? A little bit. It is a little bit sad.
We're going to miss old Joe, aren't we?
I'm going to miss Joe Biden. I am going to miss him. I'm going to miss his silly cock-ups. I'm going to miss him falling off his bike. I'm going to miss him walking past the helicopter and not getting on it. I'm going to miss him mumbling words that no one ever says. Yeah, I'm going to miss him just pointing at random people, then, just then re-talking. Yeah, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss him. In a strange way, I will miss him. Yeah. He has been, for 4 years, he has been a little bit of a... Well, I say for 4 years. For the first 2 years, we never really saw any slip-ups, did we? It's only been the last year that he's been... The last couple of years...
It's just got gradually worse. I mean, yeah.
He just the last 18 months has just been an absolute pleasure. At the beginning, Biden's speeches were really quite good. In the beginning, he could actually speak. That was the actual point. At the beginning, he actually got words out. But yeah, no, I'm going to miss him, and let's hope he does stay around for a few extra months, and he does a few interviews that he can cock up on. Do you know what I mean? Let's get him out in the population a little bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Let's let him now.
No, when he came out today and his speech was, quite accurate. There was no slip-ups today.
Perhaps it was another clone.
There was no slip-ups today. He spoke nicely. I understand a word he said. You got his meaning of what he's saying. This isn't defeat. It's maybe defeat, but we're not defeated. The common old, we're going to hand over the White House and make it a transition. Everything spoken correctly. Not, no teleprompter. Maybe he did have a teleprompter, but who knows? But no, guys, thank you for joining us. as I said, it won't be as political in the next couple of weeks. We'll keep it nice and UAP friendly.
Yeah.
Aliens and a few abduction things, because there's been a good thing on Netflix at the moment, Paul. Manhattan things. Manhattan abductions.
All right.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't necessarily
Okay.
believe it. It's worth a watch. All right. Right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching us. Stay safe. Thank you for everybody that's listened to us over on Pulse Talk Radio and joined us over on Pulse Talk Radio. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everyone that has joined us over on Facebook and YouTube tonight. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.